Peace, peace, peace. This is Wise Prince Allah, and I am recording a plus degree, The Father's Educational Show and Prove by Allah B in the year 1992. Three, two, one. Peace, peace, peace. This is Wise Prince Allah, and I am recording The Father's Educational Show and Prove by Allah B, dated May 25th, 1992. As always, as always, all because I am reading and recording this does not mean I think it's right and exact. This is for educational purpose only and to document these plus degrees. The Father's Educational Show and Prove. The history behind Allah, the Father's Educational Show and Prove, can best be told by one of the gods who helped institute it in God Knowledge, 1971. The first show and prove was held at Harlem Prep on June 13th, 1971. It was this particular Sunday on Father's Day that the city declared about a month and a half after we announced our show and prove Children's Day in Harlem to be held at Mount Morris Park. We recognized and understood that the babies were the greatest as Allah, the Father, taught us, Allah, you Akbar. Therefore, our Father's Day has always been our Children's Day as well. However, many people felt the city tried to divert the children from attending our show and prove. It really didn't matter much because that day it rained about 4 o'clock and the rain drove everybody indoors. Allah being the best of planners, we therefore planned well in advance to have an indoor affair from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. The real plans for the educational show and prove came about as a result of Prince Allah from the Oasis and Born Allah from Pelon having a desire to show and prove that the nation of gods and earths had not died when the Father returned to the essence in Equality Born, 1969. Born and Prince Allah were aware of the prediction that foretold the nation would be dead for a year after the father's assassination. In fact, it wasn't until December 4th, 1970, that the nation had any major events other than monthly parliaments. A viable role sprung to life within the nation when Prince and Bornalaw gave a dance that brought everyone to the desert. Gods and earths came from all five boroughs and as far as Massachusetts to the north and Philadelphia to the south. We were entertained by Sabu and his ensemble, a group which formed the nucleus of GQ, who with their monster hit single Disco Nights later became the number one disco group of 1979. Sabu Allah and Raheem LeBlanc from Pelon, the first musicians to arrange music for the Lightner, our national anthem, played the night away. The dance was a great success, and the gods and earths demanded that Prince and Born do something like it again and real soon. However, Born and Prince were attending Harlem Prep and were very much involved with their studies and extracurricular activities, dealing with student government and basketball, in addition to teaching civilizations to others. Therefore, for them to give another dance at that time was out of the question. During the school vacation and Christmas holidays of 1970, Born Allah was selected to represent Harlem Prep at a 2-day white blood cell seminar held upon exclusive invitation. Three, two, one. During school vacation and Christmas holidays of 1970s, Bornalaw was selected to represent Harlem Prep at a 2-day white blood cell seminar held upon exclusive invitation at Rockefeller University. Then, in January 1971, Bornalaw was chosen by God Supreme, known as Young God at the time, to represent the nation at the Commodore Hotel, where the American Heritage Foundation was honoring President Richard M. Nixon's 60th birthday on the 9th. Bornalaw in turn chose God Aline to accompany him to the Black Tie Affair. The nation of gods and earths were recognized as the guests of honor from amongst the 65 nations and was thus com- commended. Three, two, one. As the guest of honor from amongst the 65 nations and was thus commended accordingly by the 37th President of the United States. It was after these successive events that God Dubois, three, two, one. It was after these successive, three, two, one. It was after these successive events that God Dumar and Prince Allah quizzed Bornalaw on the wisdom of the will at the Father's old earth's rest on Knowledge Understanding Bourne Street in Mecca, where Bourne was residing. The wisdom of the will was the way of Allah, and the way of Allah was simply shown and proven that Allah is the God, always has been, and always will be. Thus, did we decide it then and there to show and prove that Allah lives through us. His life, three, two, one. Thus, did we decide it then and there to show and prove that Allah lives through us. His live monuments. Three, two, one. His live monuments. While God Dumar returned to the University of Massachusetts to complete his studies for a Bachelor's of Arts degree, Prince and Bornalaw made plans for the next major event of the Gods and Earths in 1971. The Harlem Preparatory School was located on 135th Street and 8th Avenue in Harlem, USA. Harlem Prep came into being as a result of its dynamic headmaster, Dr. Edward Carpenter, addressing the needs of the Harlem youth who were dropping out of school in record numbers. Harlem Prep was the model school to which all other independent schools fashioned their program after. It is now defunct, but when it was in operation and fully functioning, no preparatory school in the United States could match its rate of success, preparing high school dropouts for college. CARP, as Dr. Carpenter was affectionately called, along with his wife and the rest of his immediate family, used their own funds to get Harlem Prep started in 1968. In 3 short years, Harlem Prep became the rage of academia in the United States. Initially, the recruits came from the Harlem community, but in time they would come from all 5 boroughs. However, no student seemed to advance Harlem's Prep's ideal more than those who came from a law school. Three, two, one. However, no student seemed to advance Harlem Prep's ideals more than those who came from Allah Street Academy in Mecca on Knowledge, Wisdom, Equality Street. Messiah Allah was from Allah Street Academy, and he was one of the first graduates from the schools to go to college. He was also featured in 1970 in the first of many educational documentaries to be filmed about the virtues of receiving a good education at Harlem Prep. The next year, Umala was featured in a West Coast newspaper article highlighting his Harlem Prep education upon graduation from California's Polytechnical Institute. Al Shakim Allah and Born Allah would be elected Harlem Prep's first president and vice president of the student government, respectively. Three, two, one. Al Shakim Allah and Born Allah would be elected Harlem Prep's first president and vice president. Three, two, one. Al Shakim Allah and Born Allah would be elected Harlem Prep's first president and vice president of the student government, respectively. In 1972, Louasia from Pelon became the first Earth to attend Harlem Prep. However, it would be God Dumar who would bring Allah, the Father, and Dr. Carpenter together where they instantly hit it off. Carp, after hearing three, two, one. Carp, after bearing witness to the wisdom of Allah, became God Carp and put a universal flag up in his office. In the name of God Carp. More importantly, we agree to accept all the three, two, one. More importantly, he agreed to accept all the gods and earths the Father sent him for enrollment. He felt that we were exceptionally wise students who really understood the importance of a good basic education. God Carp was true to his word. An example of how much he valued his word to the Father can be best illustrated by what happened when Borna Law went to enroll at Harlem Prep. It was on a Friday afternoon in late summer, just before classes were three, two, one. It was on a Friday afternoon in late summer, just before classes were to begin Monday, the second week of September 1970. Bornala had asked Mrs. Shirley Jones, the school's receptionist and author of the school song, as well as wife of Doug Jones, a former member. Three, two, one. Bornala had asked Mrs. Shirley Jones, the school's receptionist and author of the school song, as well as wife of Doug Jones, a former number one heavyweight contender, for a school application. Shirley said no more applications were being offered because school enrollment limits have been reached. Upon hearing this, God Dumar, who had accompanied Bourne, went downstairs and got the school headmaster. God Clark came up and told Shirley to give a law an application. There was a young sister who was denied an application before Bourne came, witnessed this, and she began to complain about it to Clark. She told Karp that it was unfair that Bourne should receive an application when she asked for one before him. God Karp explained to her that he had given the Father his word that any five percenters from a law school could enroll in his school, regardless to whom or what, and his word was his bond. He apologized to the young sister and told Shirley to process Bourne's application. It was this kind of respect and commitment that God Karp showed for the Father when he offered the use of Harlem Prep to Prince and Bourne for us to have an affair in commemoration of the Father going home. This classic example of God Karp's commitment shows how he parted from the usual practice of renting Harlem Prep at a rate of $500 per evening and donated $500 to us to buy whatever we needed for our first educational show and prove, in addition to waiving the $500 rental fee. At the Allah Power Rule I Love, April, and Master Allah Y, May, Parliaments, Born and Prince announced the upcoming educational show Improve to be held at Harlem Prep. We also let it be known that there would be scientific, arts, and karate exhibitions, dance, song, and any and every kind of talent presentation a god or earth wanted to show and prove. We also announced that there would be 3, 2, 1. We also announced that there would also be awards for the best exhibits and prizes for all the babies as well. Of course, food and refreshments were offered free of charge to children under the degree of knowledge understanding 13 and at reasonable prices for those at and above that degree. The final day for preparations came that Saturday on June 12, 1971, with buying food, costumes, dress rehearsals, and making final arrangement for all the equipment to be on hand the next day. Prince and born along 3, 2, 1. Prince and born Allah, along with God Supreme, Shaki, God Dumor, Al Shakim, Takasia, 3, 2, 1. Prince, 3, 2, 1. Prince and born along with God Supreme, Shaki, God Dumor, Al Shakim, Takasia, Lu Asia, and El Latisha, Latik, Dahi, Da, Dahu, Janelle, Knowledge Allah, Paul Yusuf, Javisha, Mekaba, Washik, Washika, Aline. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Prince and born Allah along with God Supreme, Jaki, God Dumor, Al Shakim, Takasia, Lu Asia, and El Latisha, Latif, Dahu, Janelle, Knowledge Allah, Tall Yusuf, and Javasia, Mekaba, Washika, God Alim, and born and princes old earth and a host of gods and earths worked diligently to set the stage for the next day of food, folks, and big fun. The father's immediate family were our guests of honor, though his youngest brother, Allah, and baby sister, Bernice came. The old earth declined the invitation because she was still distraught by the father's assassination. 3, 2, 1. The father's immediate family were our guests of honor, though his youngest brother, Allah, and baby sister Bernice came. The old earth declined the invitation because she was still distraught by the father's assassination. However, she accepted the first print. 3, 2, 1. However, she accepted the first print edition of the father's portrait made by I God of the Harlem Six. Harlem Prep, the school of the 3, 2, 1. Harlem Prep, the school the gods and earths were due to take control of and eventually run, opened its door at 6, 3, 1. Harlem Prep, the school the gods and earths were due to take control of and eventually run, opened its door at 2 p.m. Tickets were $1 in advance and $1.50 at the door. The babies got in for free. All children received a dictionary at the door. All adults received a raffle stub for the door prize later. At 2:30, the place began to hum with people. At 3 o'clock, the place was half full. At 3:30, everybody was raring to go. Still, we waited a little longer for more people to show up. Then it rained, and at about 3:50, groups of people who had attended the city's ill-advised Children's Day at Mount Morris Park began to show up drenched. Finally, at 4 o'clock, Kundalini arrived from Pilon with a van full of babies. And that's when the show and proof got underway with the pleasure of showing and proving a lost children's great talent. God Dumar emceed and opened with an introduction of the day's events. The first to go on was Letitia from Mecca. She sang a beautiful song written by I God of the Harlem Six entitled Allah's Blessing. The tempo of the song was to the tune of Summertime, and Letitia sang it like the professional that she really is. She received two standing ovations during the song and a prolonged one at its conclusion. Next, Power Young Gods from Pilon beat the Congos like they never left the homeland. The late African drummer, choreographer, La Rock Bay had presented three Congos to Born Allah at the Street Academy on the Friday before the show improved as a gift because he was unable to attend and perform for us himself and perform for us himself. Up until then, these young gods between the degrees of born 9 and knowledge understanding 13 have been perfecting their craft on empty boxes and cans 3, 2, 1. Up until then, these young gods between the ages of born and knowledge understanding 13, 3, 2, 1. Up until then, these young gods between the degrees of born 9 and knowledge understanding 13 have been perfecting their craft on empty boxes, cans, and other people's cars. However, the way they performed at the show and prove, you would have thought they were born with congos attached to their hands. They played together and then soloed, for which each received a standing ovation. We could not believe that they could play like that. They were unbelievably great. They set the house on fire and nobody wanted to put these fires out. So we were on fire, burning up, and we loved it. At about 6 o'clock, intermission was called. An announcement was made that Amar, a visual arts student at Harlem Prep, had made the first documentary produced by a god of the nation, of which Prince Allah had commented, commentated. 3, 2, 1. At about 6 o'clock, intermissions was called. An announcement was made that Amar, a visual arts student at Harlem Prep, had made the first documentary produced by a god of the nation, of which Prince Allah had commentated. The first public viewing was then being shown in the screening room, and food was also being served downstairs. Most of the crowd of about 2,000 tried to all go downstairs at the same time. Surprisingly, though, the, com- the capacity crowd presented no problems controlling. That was because we were all civilized by Allah, the Father, whom we were there to righteously commemorate, and thus acted accordingly. For the next hour or so, we viewed the video, ate, and generally socialized while music played over the PA system. During this time, the children exhibits were presented. A young god won the Allah Science Award with his exhibit. A young god won the Law School Award. A young god won the Allah Science Award with his exhibit, What Makes Rain, Hail, and Snow. He used an ACD battery, a 100-watt light bulb, and a pan of water to create vapor, which formed water drops that we were able to detect with the naked eye. And when the water drops became heavy in gravitation, the water distilled back into the pan. The headmaster of war went to another god who's exhibited a spook in a bag. When the children who did not present exhibits saw educational rewards. Three, two, one. The headmaster award went to another young god who exhibited a spook in the bag. When the children who did not present exhibits saw educational awards like model plastic hearts, eyes, ears, and ant farms being given out as prizes, they went downstairs to the arts department and drew something on the spot as their own entries. And of course, their instantaneous creativity won them an educational award as well. From about 7 to 8 p.m., we had the karate exhibit by Green Eyes, Zumar Allah from Mecca, and Jabbar Abdul Jabbar, Born Allah's elder brother, who was one of the first black men certified as a certified. Three, two, one. From about 7 to 8 p.m., we had the karate exhibit by Green Eye Zumar Allah from Mecca and Jabbar Abdul Jabbar, born Allah's elder brother, who was one of the first black men certified a black belt in America. Both Zumar and Jabbar exhibited incredible feats of martial arts skills. Zumar took on and defeated as many as 6 men at a time. However, Zumar's most incredible feat was to take the weight of a 250-pound man's feet on his stomach while being levitated by his head and feet. From 8 to 8:45 p.m., the Earths presented a fashion show, which was emceed by Born Allah. Washika from Harlem. Three, two, one. Washika from Pelon was the sole model fashioning cultural attire. She was an ebony beautiful, displaying ancient grace of her Asiatic ancestors. Washika modeled a royal purple velvet three-fourths gown with a vest designed by Bornalaw and made by El Latisha of Pelon. Bornalaw's and Young God's sons, Bornalaw and Young God, fashioned their blue and white and baby pink summer short suits, respectively. Washika changed and reappeared in a peppered burgundy raw silk vested three-fourths gown designed by Bornalaw and made by Takesha of Pelon. Washika professionally modeled her fashions as though she was on the most elegant fashion runway of New York, Paris, and Milan. At about 8:50 p.m., the Earths from Pelon treated us to songs and dances from the motherland, and the Nagu dancers of about 18 age. Three, two, one. And the Nagul dancers of about 18 aged and two younger Earths dancing in black and gold three-fourths clothes attire entertain us with original songs and dances while Luasia, the choreographer, narrated the tropes, every expressive word and rhyth- rhythmic, rhyth- rhythm, rhythmic, rhythmic, rhythmatic. Okay. Three, two, one. Attire. Entertain us with original songs and dances while Luasia, the choreographer, narrated the tropes, every expressive word and rhythmic movement. Luasia, Javasia, Mekabe, Mecca, El Letitia, Taikina, Shalasia, Asia, and Shalima, plus the two tiny princesses, rocked the house with their individualized supreme alphabetic finale. Each dance a solo spelling out of the meaning of their names in rap fashion until it was the young princess's turn, and then they just rocked everybody's world. The Earth's performance was inter- interspersed. Three, two, one. The Earth's performance was interspersed throughout with, with arousing applauses and standing ovations right up to its thrilling, exhilarated climax. Three, two, one. Exhilarated climax. In 1973, just 2 years after performing at the Father's Educational Show and Prove, the Nagul Dancers became the first dance troupe to star on the People's Show on CBS TV. They did a gangster dance to Curtis Mayfield's Superfly in the shadows of the then unfinished Lambert projects in the Bronx. At 9:30, Sabu and his ensemble led a 16-piece band, which included and featured Raheem LeBlanc of GQ fame, Knowledge Allah, Qasim Allah, Born Allah, members of the Omni production fame, Al Jabbar, Kahim, and many other very talented and well-known gods from Mecca and Pilan. Though the show and prove was scheduled to end at 10 p.m., the band played a variety of music written by members of the band and other popular tunes, which we danced to until 2 o'clock in the morning. The Father's Educational Show and Prove that Sunday in June of 1971 was a great day and night to commemorate and remember our Father Allah by having the children show forth their greatness. It was that day, three, two, one. It was that day that we instituted an institution that will last forever, just like our universal parliaments. Three, two, one. It was that day that we instituted an institution that will last forever, just like our universal parliaments. Peace. Peace. Once again, this is Wise Prince Allah recording. It was the Father's Educational Show and Prove, written by Allah B on the date of May 25th, 1992. Peace.